Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be talking about assignment lists and cadences. Before we get into everything, we'll do a quick overview of what we will be discussing today, and then we'll get into some introductions. So, like I said, we'll do some intros here in a second, but then we're going to talk about what assignment lists and cadences actually are. We're going to walk through in depth how to build both assignment lists and cadences. We'll then get to see them in action, including how we can utilize Slate AI with Express portals. And finally, we'll talk through some of the current limitations that exist within assignment lists and cadences today. Just a brief introduction into what the Parish Group is. We have been supporting institutions for almost 40 years now. We started with photography, and then we got into search, and eventually the Slate side of things. We are a Slate Platinum Preferred Partner, and the Slate team here at the Parish Group focuses on practical function and innovation to help institutions do their work better. With that, I am Malyn Pickett, Senior Director of Slate Support at the Parish Group. I have over a decade of Slate experience, and that is within admissions, advancement, as well as student success.
Hi, and my name is Shawna Billheimer. I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions and CRM Manager at Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. I was an admissions counselor for around 3 enrollment cycles, turned to a Slate captain about 6 months ago. So again, I have about 6 months of Slate captain experience. And that right there is my cat Mittens. I love her. And yeah, she's the love of my life.
Awesome. Thank you, Shawna. So what are assignment lists and cadences within Slate? The knowledge base defines an assignment list as an interactive, open-ended, AI-enabled visualizer for an assigned population. These are a great way to help prioritize outreach to students and donors. A cadence is a scheduled, repeating set of tasks that you want to be followed for a given record. A cadence helps to guide the outreach taken and can be added to an assigned record as a block with a single click. So let's talk about how we build an assignment list. We will start by going to database and finding assignment lists. Once there, go ahead and click on New List and give it a name. It's recommended at this time that you build these on person base to ensure that all outreach buttons remain visible to your end users once they are actually using the assignment lists. You're able to provide AI recommendations here, or you can add these in later once you have your exports built out. One thing to keep in mind as we go through this entire presentation today is that assignment lists are still a newer feature in Slate. So user feedback is important to improving these tools for everyone. At the end, we'll talk through, like I said, some of those limitations that exist, and then I'm going to give you some existing feedback posts that are out there. So once you create your assignment list, it will look something like this. Assignment lists are built on 3 Express portals and a query. We'll start by adding our exports and filters. Our filters will determine the records that show on the assignment list, and our exports will become sortable and filterable exports that are visible to the end users when accessing the assignment list. Just a tip here that if you are using assignment lists for your counselors, consider using that staff assigned is equal to current user filter. When thinking about the exports that you add, think of them relative to the goals of the assignment list. For our example today, we are wanting to convert applicants to deposits. So we pulled in exports that would help to determine the likelihood of converting to a deposit. These include things like login count, ping count, and email count. In this scenario, we also included the student's geographic territory, as well as the program. as this will help to allow counselors to filter on those items if there are specific areas that they are trying to grow enrollment in. It's also important to consider that these exports are what will drive your AI prompt. So, if you choose to set up those AI recommendations, these are what they will be based off of. Since we didn't add those instructions when we created the list, we can go back and click on the big edit button. I think that's the official term for it, and add or adjust our AI recommendations here. Like with any AI tool, being as specific with our prompt as we can be will help us to get the results that we're most interested in. For this example, we want it to add up our login count, our ping count, and our email click count together and give us an engagement score. We then want it to sort our students with the highest engagement score at the top. Other things that you could look at are event attended accounts, gift counts, and more. I'll show you where you'll actually see the results of these AI recommendations here in just a bit. Oops. There we go. Now that we have defined the students we want to show in our assignment list, we will start building out these 3 Express portals. Your first Express portal is your list. Your list is what will show within your assignment list above your list of students. It's intended to give your users context, instructions, or tools that relate to the records they're working through. You're also able to show progress indicators to keep them motivated or links to specific forums that may be helpful. I recommend starting simple here to not overwhelm your users. Any exports that you want to be included as merge fields on your list Express portal will be added under Edit Exports. Then you'll build out your Express portal as normal. We wanted our end users to know what the list below included and a count of how many current admits versus total deposits that they currently have. Next, we'll build out our Summary Express portal. The summary is what you will see when you click on a record from the assignment list. Again, any exports that you add under Edit Exports can be used as merge fields in your Express portal. One thing to be mindful of when creating your summary is that this displays in a pop-up, so be mindful of the space that you have. You likely want to show pertinent information that will help to inform and guide conversations, including information surrounding if a cadence step should be skipped. An example of this is if a cadence step is to invite a student to register for Accepted Student Day, you would probably want to skip that step if the student has already registered or attended that event. Displaying that information on the summary is helpful to guide these conversations in a meaningful way. As you are building out these Express portals, keep in mind that you can use Slate AI to help add design elements. A prompt that I gave Slate AI to test this during this build was, help me make this information more digestible to the end user while keeping intact branding guidelines. In a bit, we'll dive much deeper into the Slate AI portion of these Express portals. Next, we'll build out the Detail Express portal. The Detail Express portal is what will show when you click on Display from the Summary tab. This will show in a full page view. For our example today, we chose to keep some of that information the same, but we also included other information that may be helpful, such as educational history, event history, and recent communications. Again, we want to be mindful about the information that we add here. We have more real estate to work with, but we want that information to help guide those conversations so that we can accomplish the goals of the assignment list. I find it easy to go overboard with data pretty quickly here. We can add things like message click count or ping data, but are our counselors or gift officers going to really understand what those data points mean and know how to use them? They might, but maybe that information is really better served to help guide those AI recommendations rather than display to the users here. Now that we have our assignment list built, let's go ahead and create our cadence and cadence steps. We will start by going to the database and finding cadences. Once there, go ahead and click Insert and give it a name. Under the portal summary and portal detail, you can select the express portals that you just made within your assignment list. If you leave the detail portal blank and someone is working through their cadences and clicks on details, they'll simply be routed to that student's record. I will note that if you have multiple assignment lists, you will see the same name listed multiple times. So as an example, you would see assignment listed a couple times in your dropdown. Once your cadence is created, go ahead and click on over to Cadence Steps. Cadence steps are individual actions or tasks that make up a cadence. Think of cadence as the overall follow-up plan and cadence steps as the specific milestones within that plan. Cadence steps belong to a specific cadence and have a name, an order, and a day. Your name will be something like initial outreach call, or here we have congrats on admit text. The order of the sequence is the sequence in which the step occurs within the cadence. And the day is what day the step is due. This is relative to when the cadence starts for that specific record. You can see here for this specific cadence, we have 6 cadence steps. As you are starting to use assignment lists and cadences, you can always come back in here and add or adjust existing steps as you need to. Now that we have our assignment list and cadences built out, how do we actually use these tools? First, you'll want to make sure that your assignment list is shared with the proper users. Navigate back to your assignment list and click on the arrow next to that big edit button and click on Edit Permissions. Add the roles or the users that should have access to the assignment list here. Once the list is shared with the proper users, users can find their assignment list by hovering over the Slate icon and clicking Your Assignments. If you provided AI instructions in your assignment list, users will see a list of those recommended records here. You'll remember that we told it to calculate an engagement score by adding together the number of logins, pings, and clicks, and sort the students with the highest engagement score at the top. You'll see our friend Jim Halper is very active within this database. Users can view all records in their list by clicking on the assignment list link. This is where you will see that List Express portal that you created. We can see my total admits and total deposits. And below that list portal, you will see all students that meet the assignment list criteria. These are the exports that you added on the assignment list. All columns are sortable, filterable, and can be arranged. If we select a record from the list, our Summary Express portal will show in a pop-up. When assignment lists are built on the person base, you will see the email, SMS, and mobile outreach options. Clicking on any of these will bring up your native Slate functions that we are used to and will automatically log the outreach on the student's timeline. If a student has an existing cadence added, they will be seen under Cadences. If they do not, it will look like this, and you will have the option to click on that plus icon to add a cadence. A user is also able to add interactions directly from the summary view. When we click on the plus icon next to the cadence, a pop-up will appear where we will get to select the cadence that we want to add to this record. The user here will auto-populate based on who is logged in. After saving, you will see the cadence and cadence steps added to their summary view. When you click on a cadence step, you will have the ability to update the status of the step to either completed or skipped. If you mark a step as completed, you will see a green check mark, and if you mark a step as skipped, you will see a gray check mark. A user can also click on Display from the summary view to be taken to the detailed view that you created. On the Details view, they will have all of the same outreach options and will still have the ability to add a cadence, update their steps, or add an interaction. Once a cadence has been added to a record, a user can access their cadence by hovering over the Slate icon and clicking Your Cadences. On this view, users will be able to select the cadence they want to view. Items will only show here if a user has already added a cadence to a record. Once within your cadence, you will be able to see a list of your cadence steps, including the records who meet each step. You will also see the date that the steps are due so that you can prioritize your outreach accordingly. If you click on any names here, you will be taken to that exact same summary view and detail view that you saw under assignments. I mentioned it before, but one thing I think is important to highlight is that you are still able to create express portals that have strong design and help to guide those meaningful conversations, even if you don't have a strong technical background. I reached out to my friend and colleague over at Harrisburg University, Shawna, who recently moved over to a Slate role after being an admission counselor. Even as a newer user to the technical side of Slate, she was able to create some awesome assignment lists and express portals using Slate AI. She's going to walk through the prompts that she used to build these. As we go through these next couple of slides, you'll notice that the prompts that we give AI matter. From the knowledge base, good prompts help to clarify. They explain what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what you want to happen. But great prompts expand. They invite Slate to identify blind spots, suggest improvements, and offer new directions. So I think you'll see those, or you'll see that differentiation as Shawna goes through these next couple of slides.
Thanks, Malyn. So like many other schools, one of the key indicators in enrollment is whether or not a student has been on campus. If we're able to get them to step foot on campus, they usually have a higher likelihood of enrolling. So the assignment list that I built out is specifically to get more students to campus and inviting them to on-campus events. Starting with our List Express portal, I wanted to start by showing quick counts of the current users' prospects, inquiries, and applicants. So basically what we did to start was we put in our simple text, as you can see, and it was exactly what was returned to us. It gets kind of lost in the name of the assignment list and the other students. So what we wanted to do then is kind of bring it forefront. So I went back to the list and added in some additional text describing to the user what exactly the list was that they were seeing below. As you can see with our updates, it's still pretty easy to miss if you're not specifically looking for it. So this is where I brought in Slate AI. I started with a simple prompt of help me make this static content look prettier. It did say some stuff in the mix, as you can see. I kind of just ignored it and said, do it, because I wanted to see what it would actually do. We ended up with a list view that looks like this. It's specifically telling the user what it is that they are looking at in the list below, and it gives them a clear count of their current prospects, inquiries, and applicants. It was a good start, but I wanted it to look more like in terms of what we use for our branding and our colors. So I went back to Slate AI and I asked it to use our grammar and tone snippet that we have set up. A little side note here, our grammar and tone snippet is set up as an HTML Slate AI snippet under our database. So within it, we're able to set our overall tone, use fonts that we do use, provide our logo, and as well as any primary colors for branding as well. It's super helpful in both portal building as well as communications. So after we asked it to apply our grammar and tone, it looks like this. It's very similar to what we had before, but it ensures that our branding is followed, and it looks like the tools that are already being used daily by, again, our everyday users. So as it's starting to take shape, I did want to add some more stuff in, so I decided I actually wanted to use a different font, and I wanted it to take up a little bit more horizontal space. So once again, I asked AI. It does end up changing some fonts, but as you can see, my horizontal space still isn't affected as much, but it does add the tiles, as you can see, the tile, oh my God. As you can see, the tile still sits in the middle of the page. Sorry, my brain was running too fast there. So I went back to Slate AI, and as I said before, I would like it to take up more space horizontally. And instead of that table that we saw on the previous slide, I wanted it to build out separate tiles for the prospects, inquiries, and applicants. And also while we're here, I asked if we could add in some merge fields for upcoming events. That leaves us, as you can see, with those 3 very clear tiles of our pipeline view as well as a list of upcoming events. And because I'm super picky, I still wanted this to take up a little bit more horizontal space instead of being in the center. So we got very specific with AI. I said what we're currently seeing right now is it's centered in the middle of the page, but I would like it to take up that full width. So it asks us to confirm what we wanted to do. And I said, take up space edge to edge. And finally, we're left with a full width list express portal that's clear to the end user as to what they're looking at, and it gives them the highlights of information that are important. They might find it helpful, and it also includes those lists of upcoming events that they could potentially invite students to. So once we add in our list express portal and obviously have that completed now, I did the same process for our summary portal. I added in all the exports that I wanted to be included within my summary view, and I started the same exact way as I did with the other portal. I included my exports in a way that I thought would make sense to the end user. I took a look at the summary view, and similar to before and in the beginning of the process, I realized that some labels would be helpful. So I went straight back to AI, and I asked it to add in some labels for my merge fields. It did exactly that. It did add some labels, but it wasn't super specific. And AI added in terms like applicant instead of using the term prospects. So I got a little bit more specific with my asks, and I detailed that this is a list of prospects and we want to try avoid using the term applicant. It did change some things up. We got that pretty simple view, but it's not exactly what we were looking for, and I think we could do better. So I asked Slate AI once again, can we make this more user-friendly and easier to read? Because I really wanted to highlight information such as if a student has 0 events attended and really make it stand out by making that text red. It didn't really do that much other than add in the logic to show the events attended in that, again, red font that equals 0. So we went back to AI and we asked it to be a little bit more specific. This time we said, use tiles to make this easier at a glance. So now things are starting to take shape. It does look a lot better. Users are able to see things quick at a glance. It makes it easier to navigate conversations and all that good stuff. But finally, we went back, and to make things well-rounded, we used that grammar and tone AI snippet again, but this time we said, don't include our logo. And in the end, we end up with a simple, easy to read and navigate, fully branded Summary Express portal done within to 10 minutes. Pretty easy.
Awesome. Thanks, Shawna. We know that this example has been pretty admissions heavy, but there are plenty of other use cases for assignment list within Slate. Some of those include application generation, yield, like you saw, those high touch students like first generation and children of alumni. For student success, think early alerts. For advancement, we have parents of students, consecutive year donors, and athletic donors. There are so many more that exist out there. So we would love to hear kind of how you are using assignment lists and how you're thinking about using them in the future. So I mentioned at the beginning of the call, assignment lists and cadences are a newer feature. They were announced in 2025 at Slate Summit. So there are some current limitations that do exist within these tools. So let's walk through a couple of those. Currently, the assignment list base exists for configurable joins, but with some limited join options, and we cannot currently query on cadences. This one has been approved by Technolutions. We are just simply waiting for those to be released. So hopefully soon. Cadences must currently be manually assigned to a record. I know I can think about a couple of use cases where it would be nice to be able to have those cadences automatically be applied based on a stage or an activity. There is an existing feedback post out there that we'll give you at the end. Since outreach options and interactions do not show, when you build assignment lists from anything but the person base, it makes it challenging to build for all scenarios or requires the use of joins in many places. So again, it would be nice to be able to create those assignment lists from different bases and still have those outreach options. And finally, there are some limitations on customizations within the summary and display options. An example is even if a student has opted out of texting, that SMS button still displays, and it would be nice to be able to hide that if a student has not opted into texting. As you start to use assignment lists and cadences, don't be afraid to add new feedback posts out there if you don't see one that exists for what you are wanting. Like with anything in Slate, it's so important for Technolutions to hear real user experience so that they can continue to make these tools better for all of us. Like I mentioned, there are some knowledge base articles, and the Parish group has also done some Slate 101 videos directly on assignment lists and cadences. So we encourage you to take a look at all of these resources that we have. Finally, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either Shawna or I. We would be happy to help you as you are starting to build and think about assignment lists and how you can use them at your own institutions.